Joseph is the hip-hop head. He listens intently to every word, every bar, and if you're whack, he's never going to miss an opportunity to say that you are trash and you should have never thought of rapping.
Imagine if I said to you, you could clear GoFundMe today. You could still fly private.
That's why we friends.
You can eat at Houston's every night.
Done.
What would the recognition be that you would want?
Maybe a little statue next to Kobe down at Crypto.
Yeah, that seems very fair. Skylar, you'd probably be a pushover though, right? If you were married, or do you think you'd be like a tough husband?
Depends on
how hot she was.
If you got C cups, I'm gonna take this amount of shit from you. If you got D cups, I'll take this amount. Mark Wahlberg, not my favorite rapper, but my favorite motivator, and I'm a big fan. I love watching his Instagram, and every time he's lifting, he goes, progress, progress. So now when I run, I be doing the same shit. Progress, progress.
Hey everyone, I'm Chloe Kaminskis, aka Chlomonsta, along with your hosts Jaleel White and Joseph Vecsey, and this is Everybody Lurks.
Skylar, you'd probably be a pushover though, right? If you were married, or do you think you'd be like a tough husband?
I'd probably be a pushover. Depends on
how hot she was.
Exactly. You're like, if you got C cups, I'm gonna take this amount of shit from you. If you got D cups, I'll take this amount. There's some truth to that.
Yeah, we were.
My mom was saying I'd be a terrible boyfriend.
Yeah. We were saying how Skylar just like meets.
His parents are tough on him.
Oh yeah. Skylar's dad yesterday said that Skylar has no game like whatsoever.
He's like, you have no game.
And to give you an idea of Skylar's dad, he stayed in the Palisades during the fire with like a fire hose, and he thought everyone else was like a pussy if they didn't stay. So
with a green garden hose.
What'd you say?
With a green garden hose.
Whatever he did, some kind of hose.
Yeah, he just was like, he called me because I left, and I was like, yeah, they said to leave, and he's like, you're being a pussy for that. He's like, you need to protect the house. I'm like, dude, no. Like, I'm going to a hotel. I'm fucking chilling. Like, I'm not trying to deal with that.
So he and his dad said...
So it was Skylar's dad and Rick Caruso out there battling the flames.
Yeah.
Rick Caruso. And then, by the way, it didn't even... And they end up having to level that whole... Basically, they're going to have to level that whole village anyway. So saving it did not even do any good.
In the long term, it's great that they saved it. I can't say that. I mean, but the whole private firefighters things, for people who don't know, Rick Caruso is probably the largest developer in the Los Angeles area, and he had an entire fleet of private firefighters that defended his commercial property in the Palisades, which is a standout like commercial property in that community.
I'm gonna give it a
Good for him, for having the foresight to do it. It was just a little eerie to me that it was like there's this even smaller community of people who knew to do it. That's what I found to be a little disturbing, though. That is like, so there's like 5 people in this whole neighborhood who knew to have private firefighters on standby.
But did you see Tim Dillon's bit? Did you see Tim Dillon's bit though, destroying that?
Oh, I didn't hear his bit.
He lit Caruso.
If the bit's that good, you got to play it.
Do
we have a bit?
Can you play it? I don't like us reacting to too many videos that are long, but this is worth seeing. It's just so funny because it's so true, and the way Dillon just laced into him through stand-up. I think to make a point and be hilarious is always very hard, and not many comedians can do that.
I like that little Palisades village. I'm glad it's still there. I am. I'm glad that guy brought in his own water and fucking was like, yeah, we're not losing. What's the fucking McConnell's? We're not losing that ice cream place. There's people burning alive in the street. He's like, yeah, we're not losing McConnell's. What are you, nuts? It's a good ice cream. Santa Barbara strawberry is a great flavor. What are you, nuts? What's that other sushi place? Is it Blue Ribbon? It's good. Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's good sushi.
The fucking...
It's great sushi.
It's just hilarious to be a billionaire and to go, we're bringing in water and we're bringing in our own firefighters. And then the firefighters show up, they're like, all right, who do we save? And you're like, what? Get the fuck in front of Blue Ribbon Sushi right now. Are you out of your fucking mind, you piece of shit? Who do we already saved the tiger roll. That's a fucking get in front of Blue Ribbon Sushi. You think you feel less heroic as a firefighter guarding a mole? Just with water, like. Because that's what they had to do. They had to stand there. And like all around them was just chaos. It's like people leaving their houses. They're like, Frank, get the kids!
Okay, so the reason I love that bit so much is because it's just so true, and at the same time, like I said, they're gonna have to level the Palisades anyway. So this guy brought out because there are some people in Palisades who are probably not on the level of billionaire or millionaire who lost their homes and truly can't afford to rebuild. They see a guy protecting, as Tim Dillon pointed out, sushi. It doesn't look great.
Look,
Tim Dillon killed it.
I said that. It doesn't look great. I mean, but he just laid it out.
It was beautiful. And the fact that it's got to get destroyed anyway is just kind of hilarious. But at least to Skylar's credit, his dad, he fucking stood there himself with a hose. So I respect that because he stood with a hose himself.
Does anybody, this is what I'm curious about.
He was talking to me like, we have no technology. I've been living off a jar of peanut butter for the past 2 weeks. Like, I was like, all right.
That's a man.
You're doing way too much, man.
That's a real man.
Yeah, no, that's a real man.
That's a real man. Not me. You know me. I'm pivoting. I'm out. I'm running.
That's what the second I saw that.
Your dad would stay for the fires.
He would.
He'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
The shopping center that they saved, though, who's shopping there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing.
That was where my mind went. I'm like, all right, that's why I said I really wish there had been a more concerted effort between billionaires to say, hey, listen, if this thing jumps off, we're going to be the ones to save the whole damn thing. We're gonna save babies, kids, pets, as many houses as we can.
They could have grouped together.
Right, they could have literally grouped together and had done that.
Saved the whole village.
Oh, so like to me, I just feel like as a narrative, that would have been one of the dopest stories of all time, that like 5 billionaires knew that this fire could happen and prepared with their own resources that LA owed us as taxpayers, but failed to do, and they saved it. Like, that's a global story. Like,
they would have made billionaires more likable.
They would. Oh my gosh, we'd be yes. Like they would have made. They would have been like the Avengers of billionaires if they had done that. Yeah. And that's the part that where I'm like.
They could have done good, and people would have been like, you know what? It's not bad to be a billionaire. Right? They're nice people. So they're using their money for good.
Bernie Sanders would have been like, oh, you know what? Billionaires aren't that bad.
Right? Like I would love.
This is good. This is good.
Since billionaires are all about cost sheets, I just love to know the difference in cost it would have taken to save a little bit more of the Palisades, like maybe the high school or that giant Ralph's over there, or everything on Swarthmore. Like, what was the cost of saving those things as well, especially the high school? Like, I kind of have a connection to that.
I went to Pally, bro.
Like, Pally High is gone, and the billionaire, just like Tim Dillon said, save McConnell's.
And the fact that it proved to be pointless because I guess, I don't know the science behind this, but like mold and all the toxins that came in like destroyed all the buildings. So it's at such a point that they basically have to take it all down. Wow. So like Erewhon, I heard, had like giant, because the food was in there. So the food caused black mold, and I probably was like insane. I'm sure if you were to go in there. So they're still
going to have to gut these places.
Yes, completely. It didn't do anything. Saving people's homes would have done something, obviously, even if people couldn't go back right away. But saving this, no.
Listen, I'm not indicting anybody for doing what they want to do with their money. But what a missed opportunity, in my opinion, to have had the foresight to know that this could happen, and it did happen, and you could have just been freaking Tony Stark about it. It was like,
I love the way you laid it out, though. I love
the
way you laid it out because Caruso and these other guys, whoever they could have been the first billionaires to people go, I like this guy, and I'm glad he has every dollar.
Thank God he has every dollar.
Has money.
Because we didn't know.
Can I ask you, I've always wanted this question, and no one could really answer this, I guess. But like when you do have people like Jeff Bezos, and I can't like comprehend how much money they really have. But couldn't they realistically, everyone in the country, couldn't they give like, don't they have enough money to give like everyone $100,000 and still have enough money?
No, motherfucker, we got bills and shit.
We got bills to pay.
That's the perfect response. That's the perfect response. You said it all like that. So that's why. You're right. They got to go to space. They don't got time to give you $100,000 if you're homeless. Fuck you. I got to go to space.
That'd be a great movie.
You said it right there.
I didn't say it. Gail King said it.
Gail King answered why Jeff Bezos and billionaires do not help the homeless or people in need because motherfuckers got to go to space.
You got to get to space.
They're like, we got to go look around in darkness and see what the fuck's out here.
That is the new way to call somebody poor now, though.
That is the let them eat
I
cake
swear,
of 2025.
That was
That is
perfect.
the let them eat cake. Say it again.
That is the
Chloe.
let them eat cake of
Give
2025.
a round of applause. That was perfect. That was perfect. That was. You said everything. You did everything. You didn't even have to speak.
That was a.
That's the new shit.
I told you the Soundboy was gonna be fine.
That'd be a great movie idea. He decides to help people, and he's like, "I'm down to my last 100 million. I don't know what I'm gonna do."
And he doesn't. He can't figure it out until the end.
Yeah, he's like, I'm down to my last 20 million. He's like, I'm like you people now.
Like this
Was
dude,
it worth it?
this dude has the resources to sweep through GoFundMe. Sweep through. Like GoFundMe is empty today.
Like it's
everything
Black
has
Friday.
been funded.
Imagine
And
that'd be
and
crazy.
it wouldn't.
Why wouldn't he
every
do it?
single dog that needs to have like a leg surgery would have one, or like
That's
literally
so...
anything. Any GoFundMe thing that'd be insane.
No,
Imagine
you're right.
you could clear GoFundMe today. Imagine if I said to you,
man.
wait, Jaleel. Imagine if I said to you, you could clear GoFundMe today, and guess what?
It would not change any iota of my life.
You could still fly private.
That's why we friends.
You can eat at Houston's every night, and still live your life. And you cleared GoFundMe. Wouldn't you do it? Wouldn't it just be a no-brainer? Why not? What would be the reason not to?
Done.
Why?
Done.
So why not? That's
Also,
so,
couldn't you write it off on your taxes? Because you could just be like, oh, charity. I'm always thinking about
It doesn't make sense to me.
Done.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't ask for much. I'd probably only want to be like, the Grand Marshal at like the Rose Parade or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Just
a little key to the city.
Yeah,
or
a little
something.
key to the city. Like, I did that. I did that.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Yeah,
little.
what would the recognition be that you would want?
maybe a little
you'd want-
statue next to Kobe down in Crypto.
Yeah, that seems very
There you go.
fair.
You know what
That
I'm saying?
seems very fair. I don't think anyone would dispute it.
Shaq, Kobe, and Bronze, and then
And you.
me. GoFundMe.
That would be so beautiful.
Set my computer to at a laptop. Like not even like an action shot like those guys dunking, but just
So
have my computer
you got Kobe like dunking, Shaq dunking, and you at the
at
laptop.
the laptop.
Glasses or no glasses?
No glasses.
Okay, just making sure. You're like that would be the magic. You see the glasses put on, you're like, all right, now y'all playing with
Yeah,
me, dog.
yeah,
now y'all fucking with
Now
me.
you
Hey,
playing with me.
Okay, that
Now-
GoFundMe money.
Now GoFundMe money.
Give
Taking
me
it
that
back.
back.
Give me that back.
Run that back.
Yeah, not as suspended as glasses, dog. Yeah. Jaleel at my computer with a fist pump. With a fist pump.
That is so mind-boggling. I really like
know.
those are like basic questions in a way, but it keeps me up at night. Like mind-boggling answers. Like why wouldn't someone just do that? Just seems like you'd feel so great about yourself. You'd walk around. You'd never feel guilty about anything for the rest of your life. Like even if you said some fucked up shit to someone or had a bad day, you'd be like, I cleared GoFundMe, dog. I'm not feeling guilty about me saying the wrong thing.
If
or
Never
doing
have to
this.
go do a confession to a pope or whatever again. You're absolved.
You're bigger than the Pope.
If you
can look at the
cleared GoFundMe,
May he
you
rest
just
in peace.
cleared it.
Kind of a funny little thing. We wanted to talk about this article that was from People magazine. She refused to cover her tattoos for dinner with her boyfriend's traditional family, so he told her not to come.
Wait a minute. That's a. Was this someone? Oh my God! This is like this is right out of my life. I feel like. I mean, wait. I just got to read that. She refused to cover her tattoos for dinner with boyfriend's traditional family. She told not to come. I mean, why were they even dating in the first place? I mean, he
obviously
knew she had tattoos.
Yeah, but you know what? What's your take? Give me your take. Come on, let's stay in order here.
No, let me. You go first.
Nah, I want you
Okay.
to go for. Otherwise, Chloe.
Okay, all right, I'll go. So I mean, from my perspective, a sleeve of tattoos, not the best look. But if that's who you're dating, I would say it makes no sense. If this is who you're with and you're inviting her over, you know, to your family, you got to explain to the family that, look, she's got a sleeve, you know, full of tattoos. I know it might make you vomit, but, you know, just come over and accept her and listen to who she is, listen to her words and her, you know, self and not her arm, and just, you know, don't judge a book by its cover or an arm by its cover. And, you know, maybe one day we can get them lasered off. I'll try to talk her into it, and I apologize, but she's a nice girl. So,
Not sure what I'm taking away from that.
Yeah, what?
I feel like that's what he should have. I feel like that's what he should have said. But by telling her to not come, I don't even know why he's dating her then.
That's on him.
Yeah, that's on him. That's his fault.
Okay.
That's who she is.
I want to hear from girl. I want to hear from Chloe.
Okay, so I feel like
a woman perspective.
Okay, so it says here, after being asked to cover tattoos, avoid drama at the family. I'm like, I feel like he was low-key, like, helping her out, being like, wait, like, because, like, you can only control yourself at the end of the day. You can't control how your family reacts to different things. You can be totally fine with your girlfriend having a sleeve of tattoos, but maybe your traditional family members don't necessarily accept that. And what are you going to do? You're going to go and you're going to have your family members have a paradigm shift in their thinking? That's nearly impossible. That's like asking your relatives that are a different, like, political stance to be like, wait, no, but see it this way. They're not just going to be like, you know what? You're right. They're going to be the way that they are at the end of the day. And so you can't control that. So by him asking, hey, I want you to meet my family. I want them to judge you based on how great of a person I think you are. But having the sleeve of tattoos is going to impact their perception of you. Just cover up the tattoos so they can judge you as a person and not based on something superficial that doesn't actually mean anything to your character. I think it's absolutely super valid to ask for your partner.
But it's not going to work out. We can almost guarantee this relationship ain't going to.
Yeah, but
I will say this, though, about relationships. I actually have this dynamic in my own marriage and family situation. And I've seen it played out. I really have. I think a lot of people today who want to be in quote-unquote serious relationships completely discount a very important part of serious relationships.
Family.
And that is the combining of families. That is paramount. So, you know, the relationship is built on lust and I like you and this is hot and heavy, but ultimately it comes down to the combining of resources and family. So I'm with Chloe where I'm like, I don't think it's asking too much to say, hey, look, just, you know, it's kind of like we're going to church on Sunday. I know you normally we're going to church on Sunday. I know you normally wear midriff everywhere.
yeah.
But my mom might have a reaction to you wearing midriff to church. Could you just cover it up today? Babe, I love it. I can't wait until we get away and I can get back to the midriff.
Right.
But just for mom today, because we're going to church, could you cover up your midriff? I consider the midriff and this tattoo situation kind of in the same
Category, absolutely.
same category of ask.
Right.
Tattoos are fine. I find tattoos sexy, to be quite honest. The tattoos are wonderful. But why give a person, I am different than you, Joseph. I think it's sexy. But and what if she's like an amazing, you know, drummer in a band? You don't
Yeah.
know. But
I hope she is with those many tattoos.
but I'm saying, I'm like, why give somebody who is a boomer born during the civil rights era a chance to judge you right off the bat
Right.
for a superficial reason that they're just going to be triggered by?
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
'cause
Like,
I've seen that in my family dynamic where there's been some, like, my wife's siblings have had to cover up some stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before we went to the meal.
this is
And all the siblings were on them too, but like, cover that. We don't want dinner to be about that stupid little tattoo right
Right,
there.
right.
Because
Yeah.
it's a little, but it's like, it's going to create a triggering reaction. So
Exactly.
I think it was a reasonable ask, and it kind of sucks if this ultimately drives a wedge between the two of them. Because clearly, I think, and I have to disagree with you, Joseph, if he's dating her and she has a sleeve like that, he likes it.
Yeah, he
I
likes
know.
it.
I didn't say he didn't like it.
But he's not ready to stand up to his mom.
That's what I'm saying.
Over it on the first meeting.
Well,
Right.
does it? But here's the thing. One, this is. I mean, okay. Does it say this is the first time she's meeting?
It says it's the first time going to a dinner, a family
Yeah,
dinner.
going to
I mean,
the
it's-
first time family dinner.
This is meet the parents.
So this is the first time she's meeting.
This is the first time,
This
player.
is the first perception that they're getting of her, and he just wants it to be about her as a person and not about what they are going to think about her having tattoos and the stereotypes that might come with that.
Yeah, I guess I feel like the stereotypes are still going to exist most likely if the family's this kind of judgy even after they meet her. So I feel like they're going to have the same judgment about why she has tattoos even after they get to know her.
Yeah, but then they look pettier.
I know.
They look pettier if there's already been positive interaction.
Right, because what if she's like a veterinarian? They're like, oh wow, you saved animals every single day.
But
you
they're
love
already
animals.
petty though.
Yeah, but then they go on a vacation maybe a year later and she has the tattoos. They're like, well, we love her so much already. Okay, we're willing to look
People are
past
funny
that.
like that.
People
Joseph.
are really like
people are funny like that. It was like
It's not church. It's a dinner.
If I was her and my boyfriend asked me to cover my tattoos, I would not be offended. Personally, I wouldn't think this is like infringing upon my rights to be myself. I'd just be like, oh,
baby,
okay. Like,
as long as he likes them and they're eventually coming out, babe. But once again, I have to give you that church analogy so that you can respect what it is to combine.
He's essentially giving her the benefit of the doubt.
Families.
Like, I'm letting my parents judge you based on your character. Yeah, not judging them by the cover of the book.
That's
God,
I'm telling you,
reference,
if
but
you're going to be in a serious relationship, man, that is a superficial reason to lose a good person.
Yeah.
If they are a really good and compatible person with you. It just sucks. And all it takes is
I'm curious to see more of the details of the article. Like, how did this even get, how did this get out? What is this like?
Old school grandparents. Fusing.
And it was more
parents?
for his grandparents, too.
Grandparents.
He wasn't even talking about his parents. He was talking about his grandparents, who you're going to see even less of.
What does the headline say? Or just his family?
Yeah, he said
traditional family, but then it's the grandparents.
You need a lot of details for this. I need fewer details.
I need to know more details. I mean, why it's even a story. How did this even come out?
I like
Reddit.
the story.
Reddit.
What?
Because it made its
Yeah.
way on Reddit.
So someone just told the story and then it's circulated. Well, no. I mean, like I said, I'm not even for a long sleeve of tattoos.
And this
not
is
my
what he
thing.
said.
So Joseph, you're just anti-tattoos though on a girl.
No, but see, here's the
Actually,
thing.
you're just anti-tattoos on a woman.
No, I don't like full sleeve tattoos. I like little ones, like, throughout that are kind of, but like I don't like.
Yeah, but
full.
you don't get to choose.
What do you mean? Choose what?
I'm just saying, if a person that you're involved with likes tattoos, there is the
No, I'm just
likelihood that they will increase over time.
Yeah, they can. I mean, I'm just not expecting them to get like a full arm sleeve, but I'm saying she should be able to just show up at dinner if that's what she likes and what she does. I think him trying to delay the inevitable.
Wait, crazy that the quote was, but he invited me to go to dinner with his family and I accepted, but he casually mentioned maybe you could wear something with sleeves just so we don't start any drama. I feel like that's super chill.
Super chill.
That's super chill.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think my guess is the parents, no matter what, they're going to judge, no matter when she takes that sweatshirt off.
See, this is how hard it is to change people's minds. You can't just like have your parents be like, hey, just accept her.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I know parents and I know adults.
I know
People
you as a
don't
parent,
change.
you're going to judge your
Here's the
son
thing.
if he brings home a tatted girl. You're going to be like, nah.
I don't know if I would. He can like it. I'm not going to judge her for that. It's just not my thing. So I'm not judging it, but I'm saying people don't change. The chances of people changing, very small.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people. When you get older, it ain't happening. So these parents, they're going to see the tattoos. I don't care how great of an impression she makes. They're still going to be a little judgy. So I think the inevitable is always going to happen. I'm actually not judging her. It's not my thing. But I would just say, if this is your girlfriend, let me see her with her full arms and her personality at once.
But also it's the grandparents. Like, they're going to cash out pretty soon.
Well, I thought it was the whole
Sorry.
family. I thought it was the whole family.
Anyway,
Okay.
let's move on.
Damn. The grandparents, they're going to cash out pretty soon.
Send me a link to this, though. I want to read more details.
Anyway, the grandparents going to cash it. Okay.
So,
Would you look to the screen?
so,
Oh, snap.
so wait now.
Dude.
Wait, go to the next one. Look at this. You and Mark Wahlberg. This was what, the Rock N Jock?
That was the first ever MTV Rock N Jock game.
I remember watching these as a kid, and I saw
He wasn't Mark Wahlberg yet.
He was Marky Mark.
He was Marky Mark on that day.
And Oh wait, can you go to the next one? Who's the next one? So we saw Will Smith's behind you. It's just those two. Oh yeah, and then that's just a close up of you. But I was amazed at all the people that were at this game. So can you? I was just honestly curious. Like, can you tell us anything about? This is a pretty star-studded, crazy game back in the day, especially looking back at it with Will and Mark Wahlberg, and I saw some other people there too. Like, any stories or how that just came about, or what that or what everybody was even like back then?
No, it was great. I loved it. That was my first ever celebrity basketball game of any kind.
Yeah.
So to start off at the MTV level and the inaugural game, that when I look back on it, that's pretty cool. The most notable thing that happened that day was the explosion of Mark Wahlberg onto the scene of pop culture, though, because Mark famously dropped his pants during his halftime performance.
Oh, that was that. So that was that game.
That was that
That's
game.
famous.
Famously
Oh, I remember that.
Dropped his pants and was like doing good vibrations, just like marching around with his pants down by his ankles and his underwear. And I just remember as a kid, you know, I probably was about 14 years old, if I had to guess. I just remember thinking, he's gonna get in so much trouble, because that's just the way my mind worked at that age.
Yeah.
I could never, when I look back on it, I'm like, oh man, like this dude was ahead of his time to know what people wanted to see out of him to become who he wanted to become. And it's like, no joke, like months later, I'm driving down Sunset and he's in his underwear on a Calvin Klein ad on billboards. And so that leap from he can't do that on TV to now it being celebrated with endorsement contracts at Calvin Klein. It's amazing about what this whole event taught me a lot about stardom, celebrity, at least back then, because without being technically the biggest celebrity in the room, he was the biggest celebrity in the room. Like, just...
But his raps were whack, though, right?
Listen, if you want to tell Mark Wahlberg as a rapper, you do that after I'm done talking. But I'm like... But,
Just wanted to ask if you thought he was a good rapper.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. When celebrities enter a room, Will Smith, Vlade Divac, Dan Marley, Spud Webb, these were the pros they got at the time. Reggie Miller... I remember Belle Biv DeVoe was there. You know, who else? I'm pretty sure Jenny Garth and Luke Perry was there.
Oh yeah, I saw Luke Perry.
Luke Perry was there. Like it was like Will was there. Obviously, you have all these people here, right? And this is like the creme de la creme of the MTV crowd, and no one's really heard of Marky Mark yet. Mm-hmm. But from his physique to his swag to his attitude. Mm-hmm. Like he walked into the place like he just knew, oh, I'm the biggest motherfucker here. I'm setting this party off here. And I love that. I love when that happens and then someone emerges energy-wise out of a room as, oh, you really had that it factor. Mm. You see what I'm saying? As a kid,
yeah, totally.
When I look back at that, I was like, oh, that's the game where dude dropped his drawers and I thought he was going to get in trouble, and instead he got $1 million underwear deal. Like, my perception of it was wild. That was also the day that I learned that anytime you do an appearance, they really care about getting you there in the limo. But when the appearance is over, no one cares about you finding your car home. No one cares.
Oh my God.
If you ever want, if I'm going to tell people, since this is Everybody Lurks and we should always stay on brand in some way. If you ever really want to meet celebrities, run into celebrities, that is, at some of these big events, Golden Globes, Oscars, whatever it is, stay away from the beginning of the show. Just go hang around the end of the show. And you're going to find all types of people who can't find their drivers, people who are drunk. You're going to find all types of people who should have been manning their post who are no longer there. And you're going to be able to just walk right in.
What? So as a...
So I couldn't find my limo at the end of this show. I remember walking around Loyola for the longest.
Well, what was the basketball? What was the competition like? Were people taking it serious, and you were being a kid, and you were probably better than you were for your age. So were you... Like, what level were you at? Were you better than Mark? Were you better than Will? Or was everyone
I was
pretty
taking
good?
it dead serious. I mean, that was always my issue. Is like when it came to playing basketball, like that character went away. Like, I was 100% Jaleel, so I was trying to get buckets, and I was
Who
trying
was guarding you?
a lot of different people. I don't think anybody in particular because you were swapping in and out. I do remember Michael Bivens bouncing the ball off of Spud Webb's forehead.
Back then?
Yes, in a play ball trick move. You know that move where
No,
you
of
can
course,
bounce
but
it off somebody's forehead.
I'm surprised he
And
did it back
Spud
then.
checked himself out of the game and was like cussing on the sidelines the whole time. Like Spud had to be calmed down.
Yeah, I believe
'Cause
that.
Mike had crossed a line that was like, yo, I'm a professional ball player.
Yeah.
Spud might have been 5'7", but he was still a professional ball player.
Of
so
course.
that was a big deal to have him at halftime go dunk at 5'7". And, that was a thing back then. But to have that ball dribbled off his face like that, woo!
Yeah, as an NBA player, it's
he
no
was
joke.
hot. That was a bench moment that I remembered. That was quite funny.
Do you remember how many points you dropped?
I don't remember how many points I dropped. I don't feel like I was dominant, but I was getting by people. I was putting in work.
Can I ask you one last question?
Yeah, what up?
Because that's a pretty epic game to be a part of.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty unbelievable. Do you think because the pants drop and everything, and do you think even though the pants drop thing worked, do you think he maybe should have worked a little harder on the lyrics, like the writing of his...
Yeah.
By the way, but let me just say, yeah, give it to it. Can I say something? I am a big Mark Wahlberg fan, I gotta say, and I love watching his Instagram because he fucking motivates you. He's up at 4 a.m. in Italy. Yeah. He's lifting weights, and every time he's lifting, he goes, progress. And I go, so now when I run, I be doing the same shit. I be going, progress. So I just want to say, Mark Wahlberg, not my favorite rapper, but my favorite motivator, and I'm a big fan.
Look, in all fairness, everybody needs to know. Between the two of us, Joseph is the hip hop head. Joseph is the one who puts on his headsets and he listens intently to every word, every bar, and he holds you to an almost academic standard of hip hop. And if you're whack, he's never going to miss an opportunity to say that you are trash and you should have never thought of rapping. This is a part of Joseph's core being. I think if Joseph were at a light and he saw someone rapping in the car next to him, he would want to hear, for the purpose of either telling them never rap again,
Snap.
or celebrating and be like, dog, you got something there.
Holy
He
shit.
is just a roving critic of rap.
Wait.
So everybody needs to know, if rap comes up on our podcast,
I'm very passionate.
Joseph is going in like a Source magazine critic.
Leads me to my
Accurate?
question.
Shout out to Benzino. Wait,
I want to know both of your guys' top 3 rappers. Like your big 3. Who's your big
gosh.
3?
Palisades is gonna chime in. Skyler.
Oh, me?
Yeah, no, I heard you say. I heard you clear your throat,
Yeah,
so
you
you were
cleared your
ready.
throat. Yeah,
you seemed like you wanted the floor.
You can talk today. We'll allow it.
Good one. Top 3 rappers. I like Tyler, the Creator, Childish Gambino, Drake.
And just to clarify,
Now, why do you have to giggle after that? Drake is great.
Yeah, Drake is
Drake
amazing.
is good. You're right. I don't know.
Wait, are
Got a
you
little
asking
shy.
our favorites, or who do we
Who's
think
your
are
big
the
I
top
will
three?
say
three?
this. I will say this. This silly beef that is taking place between Drake and Kendrick that has gone on for far too long has made true Drake fans feel guilty about saying Drake when it comes to ask greatest of all time questions. And you can tell them, like, people, I'm seeing this online, and
Yeah.
like, people are like, oh, who's your top 5 of all time? It's like, oh man, it's it's Jay-Z, it's Biggie, it's Drake. It's like,
Drake.
hey man, you can say that a little louder. My man got a catalog. You ain't got to do him like this.
Listen, here's the thing about, even though Drake, I can 100% admit, not admit, everyone knows he lost, but Drake's catalog is
It's
so
crazy.
crazy. I was listening to a thing called, you ever heard of, that he put out in 2020-ish called Dark Lane tape? And it's just basically, it's not even an album. He just put it out. Whatever. It's like a throwaway.
All right.
And he's got songs on there that you're like, these are so good. Like these songs that are throwaway to Drake would be somebody's like prime songs.
Yeah.
So Drake's catalog is gigantic, and I think ultimately Drake wins the war, so to speak, because his catalog is just so deep, and I don't think he's ever going to stop.
Listen, Drizzy is gonna stay in my top. Like I'm a loyalist. I'm not one of these people that's gonna just completely forget that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the greatest, was the all-time leading scorer for the NBA forever, and just leave him out of discussions. You know what I'm saying? Like of who's the greatest.
So who is your three?
Three.
Top three, not favorite. Of that. So let's do that.
Your like big three.
Oh, again, what are we talking about though? Are we talking about worldwide cultural impact, or are we talking about just lyrical prowess? Because you talk about lyrical prowess.
No, just
you gotta
all
go
around,
like you
just
gotta go to
all around.
KRS. You can't like.
I would just say all around.
Like
you gotta give
your
them all around.
personal three.
It's all
That are
around.
the
You
all
got to
around-
combine all
all-encompassing.
those things into
Encompassing.
one. Because look, if you're this look,
I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna
could do it.
alienate people.
I could do it.
I want to do it. I'm sorry.
Look, my
Talking
three
out.
is very easy. Biggie, number one by far. No one has ever even
I
come
will
close.
say that he didn't write, and that is so savant that
Yes,
he did not actually. So we have to educate the young people. Skylar, Biggie did not write his raps on ink on paper. Everything was off the dome.
Damn.
Everything was off the dome.
Yeah, well, he would like
Always.
sit for an hour, like listen to the beat, and then go in and he gets.
So
it,
it's
you
one
know.
thing though to be able to sit for an hour, go in on a beat.
It's crazy.
But remember what you said, and now it just becomes lore. Like, oh my gosh, that's
Fire.
I mean, he's up there again. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean Biggie, and a lot of people will sometimes say, "Oh, he didn't live long enough and have enough albums." And my argument always to that, because I don't put Jay-Z anywhere near Biggie, and I can't stand that people do. I argue with Mark Jackson and Chris Rock to this day. They are huge Jay-Z fans, and they will say their classic argument will always be, well, Biggie didn't have enough albums, and Jay-Z has how many? And what I will always say is his best album does not rival Biggie's album. So I'm like,
Well, I
Jay-Z
think-
has never come out to me with an album better than what Biggie has. So, and
I think between you and Chris Rock, Chris is just more concerned with making sure that his name always stays on the party guest list. So that's why he's going to go for the guy who's still alive.
He's like, I want to be invited to the
to the
Jay
Rock
Beyonce
Nation brunch.
Rock Nation brunch.
Exactly. I think
So,
that's
look,
Chris might be a little biased in his opinion right there.
That's fair. So
Chris
and
likes to stay current. Chris.
and he likes to stay on the list. I put obviously Eminem number 2. Who, by the way, shout out to Eminem's Paul Rosenberg. They hooked me up with this gear. Check this out.
Okay.
So people
All
can
right.
see
Wow.
that.
Okay. I love.
around.
Listen.
They sent
If-
me some shit. Can they see
If
this?
Joseph Vecsey likes you
Yeah.
and your brand,
Oh man.
he will rock your stuff like he's getting a cut.
You was wearing the purple Urkel.
He was
stuff
wearing my
on,
It's-
And where have I
on-
worn that on
and
too?
he's
Tuesday.
worn
Arenas?
it everywhere.
Arenas?
Like he's done arena shows wearing my It's Purple hoodie.
On top.
And he's wearing my hat.
Yeah.
Yes, I wore
Merch.
purple. It's purple on arena tours in front of 20,000 people.
Yep.
I should have actually shouted out at the end. I don't know why I didn't. I'm gonna do that next time when I get the next hoodie. But
I'll make sure you have some noodles to toss to the crowd.
ooh, that'd be kind of dope. I like this. Eminem, and then on 3 I will put, and then I put Jay-Z because of his body of work. So that would be my 3 if I'm saying top rappers of all time.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Do you have a top 3?
I do. So I'm actually gonna do, because we've already talked a lot about the guy rappers and stuff. So I'm gonna do my top 3 male. 3 male. I'm gonna do my.
A 3-man.
What's going on?
She's coined a new phrase.
I just got a new 3 male. My top 3 female artists. Okay, so number 1 will always be Nicki Minaj. I love her. She's just perfect. And then
It's my Sagittarius soul sister.
she's just also like, Barb, stay in school. Like, I love her. Number 2, this is a newer one, but I love Doechii. Like, she's so fucking dope. And I know we've discussed her before, but like,
Doechii's amazing.
she's a fucking bisexual icon, and like her style, her class, just the way that she operates, and like the way that she has become such, like, she's just like a cool girl. She's awesome.
I love that Doechii was A&R'd properly, and I'll talk about that later. I want you to finish your list.
And then my last one, Maybe I'll give it to. Ooh, I really like Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
She's really cool. I also
she's got a great stage presence.
Yeah, I saw her at
I will
Outside
say
Lands. I saw her at Outside Lands,
got
and I
some
was
ass.
like, "Am I straight?" I was really confused. She's amazing.
You know what?
What? Does she not? Does she not have?
Wait, what'd you
She
say?
has a nice ass, right?
Wait, yeah, she's
Yeah,
like.
her ass is crazy.
Wait, also her workout videos, like you're saying with Marky Mark, like her workout videos, she's
Marky
always
Mark.
I'm
like.
just not going to comment on that. I'm going to stay on the body of work. I'm going to stay in the stage presence. I'm just not going to comment on that. I'm not
Joseph would have hardware, except
I won't
the
disagree with you.
GoFundMes haven't been cleared yet, unfortunately.
Wait, what hardware?
I said you'd have the hardware, except your GoFundMe hasn't been cleared yet, my man.
That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna do a GoFundMe for my ring.
Yes, we have to remind our listeners that Joseph has a GoFundMe for his engagement ring to be.
Well, I'm gonna do once I get because I got a hair transplant I got to do, so I'm just trying to do the order.
We're just trying to
I want
like
my
have you
wedding
have
pictures.
a glow up before.
Yeah, I just want
your
my wedding
wedding.
pictures to look right, So I need the hair to look right. So, and that hair transplant is no joke.
Not cheap.
Not cheap.
Not cheap.
Unless you're going to Turkey. But wait, before we get off this topic, though, can you just pull up, because I'm sure Jaleel's seen this, but see, my issue actually goes back, and by the way, I'm a fan of Mark Wahlberg, but he got butthurt, I guess, that Eminem mocked him for being Marky Mark. And then there's this famous clip. Look up Mark Wahlberg, Eminem, TRL. And Wahlberg cannot hide his disdain
Well,
of
because
the anger.
because Wahlberg knows he could break him in half if they were left in the room alone.
Watch this.
How about a nice round of Wahlberg? What's up, Mark? What's up, bro? Billy. What's up, Eminem, Mark? How you doing? All right. What's up, man? What's going on? Good to see you. Where am I supposed to go? Yeah, just chill right there.
We'll just all stand together like a happy, fun bunch.
Yeah.
Happy group.
Hold on. Eminem, you have any aspiration to act? That seems to be like a common thread. A lot of musicians, sort of a next step.
One day, maybe one day. I'm trying to get where this guy is.
Yeah.
But yeah, soon, I plan to do it. I'm trying to, I want to do my thing with the music first, though.
Yeah.
Establish myself first.
You know what? Acting
God,
like
I love Eminem.
crossover.
I like Wahlberg in that though. I gotta be real.
Well, you gotta go. But to me,
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg is so successful. You should be able to take a joke about your one
But see,
thing not work out.
Okay, look. So I love that clip. I love that you pulled that up.
Yeah.
Because you're only seeing the context of that clip. We don't know what their backstage interaction was before. This is during the era of what you saw on a TV screen was all you knew.
Yep.
Now we live in the era where, they could have had words before. They could have he could have maybe dissed him in a freestyle.
Well, he made fun of the funky bunch
so
and
he-
said what Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, so he
Marky
was
Mark,
clearly, Eminem was clearly making fun of Mark the rapper. And look, you saw the picture. Like,
no, he's big.
Mark is a yoked dude.
Yeah.
And he's also a Bostonian kid that went around fighting motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah.
that was Mark.
Yeah, he's tough.
So if he has a dude that, no knock to Eminem, but just body to body, is standing next to him like this, clowning and thinking that is cute. Mark is like, yo, turn off the cameras, dog. We'll see what's cute.
You know what?
And
you know what's funny?
I come from a generation where you used to be held accountable for that kind of thing, where it was like, if you want to try to clown somebody who's significantly bigger and tougher than you standing right next to you, I hope you're ready to fight after you drop your jokes.
Eminem's. Sorry.
But he says, what he says at the end, Wahlberg, what we didn't see at the end of the video, he says to Eminem, he goes, "Oh, album's out already?" And Em's like, yeah. It's like, it was so like tense. Dude. But I do love that he did the whole stand here like a funky bunch. I mean, because his group, Chloe, was called Mark Wahlberg and the Funky Bunch, so that's why he said that. But,
I mean, listen, it's an iconic moment, and you kind of wish that Mark could have had a little bit more fun with it, because Mark could have gone at him in other ways. But that was the real Mark right there.
Yes.
All that Marky Mark, movie star. No, that was Mark right there. It was like, dude, if I caught you without these cameras,
I guess you know what the thing.
And without all your bodyguards,
may break my
but
bones.
to me,
only one of us is coming out the room.
But you know what I thought a tell sign was, though, that Eminem was not serious, is he did say to him, "Hey, I want to get to where this guy's at." To me, that was him going, "Hey, I am a fan. I'm just making a joke."
I think that was him cleaning it up, realizing he was pissing him off.
But that was Eminem's whole shtick. He dwhat care about pissing people off. I thought that was him just going like, "Hey, come on, man." I mean, what's Wahlberg? He's not going to really fight him right there. I'm sure Eminem has a bodyguard.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's like, 8 big black guys standing off to the camera right there that are making sure this whole situation has stayed kosher.
Yo, some of these guys, bodyguards, they are the biggest people you've ever seen in your life.
Biggest people ever. Did you see Doechii's bodyguard?
Carrying her, or which one?
Her?
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was the most Dave Chappelle moment.
That was the.
Remember when Dave Chappelle was riding on the dude's shoulders as Diddy?
It was the Diddy skit.
As soon as I saw Doechii do that, I said, "Oh, this is Chappelle show."
And this was real, right? It wasn't.
It was in
tongue
Paris.
in cheek.
Yeah, nah, she was out there in the streets. It was like she had her moment. Doechii's dope though, man. I met Doechii. I'm so proud to say I met her 3 years ago on a showcase, and Isaiah Rashad was actually headlining the whole thing, and she did one song before him, and I was just like, yo, again, that it factor that Mark had at the first MTV Rock N Jock game.
Yeah.
When I saw Doechii perform downtown with Isaiah Rashad, this is 3 years ago. I didn't need any of this glitz or glam.
Right.
I'm like, you got it.
She's got it.
I met her backstage and everything, so that's where I was like, it's really cool to see the way she's been properly A&R'd. Everybody now treats any offering like it was just conjured yesterday, and they don't realize the amount of time, curation, resources, feedback and notes that have gone into the careful crafting of what her image is going to be.
Totally.
So to have come up with this, this is the final product that we get to enjoy now in 2025. Yo, go all the way.
Right.
That if you're an artist and you're working on your masterpiece, right, and nobody sees or really hears from you, other than the people who know, and you come out like this. She lit the Grammys up, dog. That was crazy. I'm sorry.
The Met Gala.
I was talking over her Paris moment. Now this moment was a little funny though. Did you see this? You've never seen this, Joe.
I've never seen this.
She was just, she Paris or Italy? Where is she?
This is Paris.
Yeah, she in Paris. She was just like, walk me through the streets.
It's a natural plant. I'm not a nut.
I gotta say this though. I'm again in terms of everybody lurking. I wish I could zoom in on the bodyguard because he ain't shaking or nothing.
These guys are
Because
strong.
she's skinty.
He carrying her like a cantaloupe.
These guys, this is what they do.
Just.
Do when you talk about the confidence in seeing it in people before they become it,
yeah.
What do you think? Like, is that a form of like? I don't know how to phrase it, but like, even though they know what they're about to do or what they think they can do, but what does it take though to have that kind of confidence and see it before everybody else? So when you say Mark Wahlberg knows he's a bigger star,
he knew it.
What is that in people though? Does it almost take a case of delusion on some level to have that then before you do it?
No, I think I can't stress it enough. Right there, that day. First MTV Rock N Jock, Loyola Marymount University, that dude knew exactly how big he could be. Now also, don't forget, he had his brother Donnie in front of him. So I think that could have contributed to his confidence also, because you're growing up side by side with somebody who now girls are screaming for, chasing down the street, and you were like, that's my brother? I'm hotter than him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's also that, that sibling rivalry thing that I think could have helped him in a way that, it would be fun to ask him maybe one day or talk about. But I think it's something that you just, to that degree, to Mark's degree, to Michael Jackson's degree, to, I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just throwing out luminaries and people who may have started young. I think it comes from a place of just read and react. I think they're very self-aware people, and they can also read crowds and people very, very well. Like, I couldn't read girls for anything as a teenager. I just couldn't. I wanted them to have a great time. I wanted to take them out. And then there's another guy sitting right next to me that's just reading the girl. Oh, this is what she wants.
Wait,
this is what she wants.
Are you an only child?
Yeah.
Okay. I have this theory. Sorry to derail this, but I have this theory that people that when you're young, like if you have, because I have a younger brother who you guys have met, and then I have a younger sister, and I feel like if you have a sibling of the opposite sex, then you're able to figure out kind of like
motivations,
everything way sooner because like, you know, just I have like friends that are like only siblings or only have sisters and they're like, I just can't understand what this guy's thinking. And then I have my brother being like, wait, he doesn't like you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like just from a young age, I'm like, wait, I think that guy's cute. And he's like, well, I don't think he thinks you're like even a cool person. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and
obsessed.
I think no, I love that take, Chloe, because I think that part of becoming an effective celebrity is knowing how you affect people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And knowing how you affect a room. And so to have that ability at a young age, you need to know it on two levels. You need to know, well, back then you needed two. Now you only need one. But back then you needed to know, how does my talent affect the room? So, you know, you may not have liked him as a rapper, but I'm telling you, as a performer, the dude was dynamic.
Yeah, no, I believe
the way
that.
he was hopping around out there or whatever, like he just had this it factor, right?
And he's hot.
And again, this dude knew. He just innately knew, like, girls are going to like seeing this out of me. He was out there shirtless with no, like, this dude was I was doing push-ups so that I could get the top score in my grade school athletic test. Okay, like you remember that they make you do the test at school? What was it called?
The pacer test. Oh my god.
They would do the test at school where who could do the most push-ups, who could do the most pull-ups. The presidential, yes, we had the presidential athletic test, right? Like I'm trying to get 13 because the top score in our class is 12. This dude is doing push-ups because he's like, I want my pecs to get big because they look great, and girls are gonna love me more for having nice pecs.
We appreciate your sacrifice, Mark Wahlberg.
That level of awareness.
Progress.
That's what he's been. And you know what? Maybe that he did from rapper to movie star. He did progress. He knew it started from rap.
So there's some people that are just more aware of their talent,
yeah.
And there are other people that are more aware of just how they affect a room.
That's a good quote. By the way, I have a sister, and I still wasted a lot of time in my life not being able to read girls. So,
have you seen the new Netflix documentary Untold Shooting Guards?
I haven't seen it, but I know Gilbert Arenas is obsessed with himself in it. So.
Scott and I watched it yesterday.
So now I want to see it because Gilbert Arenas is obsessed with himself in it.
If you get to minute 44, personally that was my favorite part of the film, of the documentary. I have a clip of how great it is.
So this is supposed to be really good, man.
It is really good. The
I know it's in the
documentary
top
is very
10.
good.
Me watching a sports documentary is like a really crazy thing. So,
hey, whose dad is that? Oh, your dad did cover the Spreewell incident.
Yeah, we talked about that.
The Spreewell choking Carlissimo story. I broke Kobe being traded on draft day.
Wait.
So the documentary is very good, I have to say, and so my dad was the one who broke the story that came out with the guns.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, he broke the story with the guns.
So and it's
the
called
guns between Gilbert Arenas and
Javaris Critton. And you know what's wild about the doc? You'll find out. I mean, you might have a different opinion, as we normally a lot do, opposing views, but Javaris Critton, unfortunately.
Can you say his last name?
Oh yeah, how you say it? Critton?
What is it?
Critian? Criteria?
I'll give you another shot.
Criterion?
Javaris Criterion?
Javaris Critton.
It's Javaris Critton.
Wow, that's hard. Critton?
That's what I'm going with.
All right, I'm going to go with, all right, so you know me, I'm dyslexic. That's
you
why
just
we
say
got
a little chat BBL.
Chat BBL. You know I can't say words right. So Javaris Critton. Javaris Critton.
Just say
Javaris.
JC.
All right, Javaris, you know, unfortunately, you know, in his life ended up killing someone. And,
whoa, didn't know that.
Yeah, he ended up killing someone. This poor innocent woman. Super sad, super unfortunate.
Yeah.
For the woman, obviously, and you know, you feel bad for Javaris too because he kind of went on a path that led him this way, and he seems like here. Basically, my point is Javaris killed someone, and somehow you walk away going, "Damn, Gilbert Arenas is a bigger asshole." That's how
Joseph wants the smoke, ladies and gentlemen.
And and let me say your soundboard, and then I'll come in. So here's my take on that. And obviously, I mean, Jaleel, you can only speak to living through it. You didn't see the doc, but Chloe and Skylar did. Here's the thing, and I think you will agree on this eventually. Javaris seems like a guy who's an overall good guy who is from a certain neighborhood and got put on the wrong path and led him down a very bad road and did something wrong. Now, he got out after 10 years. He should have been in jail for life no matter what. Everyone's got to take their accountability for themselves. It's not Gilbert's fault. But Gilbert set off a chain of reactions. And by being an antagonizer and being beyond immature and getting into this debate about guns and shooting each other and then trafficking guns from Arizona on an NBA plane and bringing the guns into the locker room. And he wrote a note, put 2 guns on Javaris's locker and wrote, pick one. And when you hear Gilbert talk about it, he takes accountability, but you can still see he doesn't truly get it of how bad this was. And he calls it immature. Yeah, it is immature, but it's way beyond that. And he should be not only taking way accountability, but he should feel some guilt. He doesn't, I don't think, of the chain reactions he set off.
No, he definitely
he does not feel like you weren't just playing pranks. You were taking it to another level of disrespect. You're bringing guns into an NBA locker. And he was on Dan Patrick's show today. Shout out to Dan Patrick. And he actually says on the show, he goes, yeah, in locker rooms, the stuff that goes on, egotistical. And, of course, Dan Patrick, thank God, he laughed and said, I don't think that was exactly going on in every locker room. So the fact that Gilbert even refers to it as egotistical and the stuff that goes on in locker rooms, I don't think he fully gets how
the gravity of the
situation and how bad he should feel and how that his actions, he's not responsible for what Javaris did, but how his actions helped set off a chain of events that eventually led to something horrific happening to an innocent woman. And again, it's not on Gilbert, but he should feel, like you said, more of the gravity of the situation, how you can't just, the fact that you were playing with guns and pretending to shoot your teammates, how serious that was. And what a horrible example that was for everybody. And here you are, you're a guy on an NBA team having, everything handed to you, and you're fucking bringing guns on a plane and playing around with people. So I just don't think he fully gets it. So I walk away going, I feel a little, of course, bad for Javaris. You know
what? I have a short take on this one.
Yeah.
And I'll kick it to you, Chloe. But I have a short take on this one. Everything you said actually is correct, ethically. The reality is, though, as balls of energy on this planet colliding with one another, I think sometimes people's karma just collides with another person's karma. So, like, a lesson that you're meant to learn is now going to be learned through a collision with Chloe or this road raging guy out here or a jackass teammate in your locker room.
Right.
And the lessons that are meant for, each individual may have nothing to do with the cataclysmic event that's going to take place. Clearly, Javaris was on a path, and his path collided with Gilbert. But Javaris's path seemed like it was laden in violence. And that was a major moment for Javaris to have been, if he couldn't have seen it himself, I'm sure that there were individuals around him at that time who were trying to wake him up and even get him to understand the gravity of his situation, no matter how much he had been provoked. Because remember, I said we got separate lessons that are just karmically colliding. So that's the part where my heart sinks a little bit when I think about that lesson, because for Javaris to go all the way to actually killing a woman, I'm assuming it was by accident.
He was going after someone else who had robbed him.
Bingo.
So it was an accident and then also not an accident.
So again, you just set up another situation.
Yeah.
He was going after somebody who robbed him, and this bystander woman ends up taking the bullet. All of these life lessons colliding in these horrible moments. you've got to be aware of that.
100%.
And I love to share that with people. It's like, you know, and it may sound like a tangent even right now, but it's like, yo, if I get into it with somebody and we're in cars, I program my brain now to be like, hey, I'm in my metal cylinder, they're in their metal cylinder. Don't you get out of this car to escalate this to another lesson that does not belong. Like, you have a family to take care of. You have a daughter that's waiting on you. All it takes is you getting out of that car and cussing at the wrong guy, and boom, 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 boom. Oh, you didn't know that was what you were about to encounter.
That's how my friend Robbie got shot.
Word up.
He did.
It's
Sorry,
like,
Robbie.
I mean, I hate for it to take kind of, you know, the chat to take kind of a darker turn.
No, but it's a serious
But it's like,
topic.
but it's a realer turn to make people aware of that. It's like, yo, you've got to grow emotionally, and yeah, has Gilbert been allowed to grow at a slower rate? Yes, he has.
And he could have got himself shot. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
he could have got other people shot.
Yeah.
And so that's why when I hear him talk about
that
it, I
wasn't-
get a little annoyed.
that wasn't meant to be his downfall.
But I was going to say, but to your point, like you said, it's still on you. It's still your responsibility. You still have to take accountability. And I also want to say this, because obviously we're talking about it in a serious and respectful way, but like sometimes on podcasts, people do get flippant, and we're not. But like, obviously I said I feel bad for Javaris. I say that, like, you know, I feel bad because I can tell, like, his life maybe shouldn't have gone down that route, and he made some bad choices, and I can see he's a human. Of course, the poor woman who lost her life
gosh.
is feel beyond, without saying, feels so horrible for her.
Literally caught a stray.
Yeah, and her family's in the documentary talking about it, and it's also unfortunate. The family's very hurt that Javaris somehow had a connection to be let out. And I do agree that he should have been, and he should be in prison for life for what he did. And that family was not consulted that he would get out after 10 years. And most people for those kind of crimes don't get out after 10 years. You know, so whereas you can see the nuance in situations and what led to it. And obviously he didn't mean to kill this woman or her. He meant to kill someone else, though, who robbed him. Yeah, it's just unacceptable and unexcusable. But
you see what I'm saying? Like, I would just know instinctively, because I don't come from a background clearly as violent as his.
Right.
But I come from a thinking background that's like, hey man, if you're gonna open fire in public,
anything can happen.
There's
anything can
externalities. So yeah, no, totally.
And it's amazing how many people, you know, are raised, and you have to consider that in environments that give no thought to that at all.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's what I would be interested to know, out of just 10 average people, if they had to pull a gun in a what they consider to be a self-defense situation, would still pull it in a way to cause more harm beyond protecting themselves.
Well,
I think a lot of people, I think you would be surprised by the number of people who would act incorrectly with their firearm.
Well,
But it's like exactly what you said. It's just like the thinking versus doing mindsets. Like there are people that even when they're speaking, they think about how their words are going to have consequences potentially, and they think about the externalities of the situation. How you say something like, I don't like your shoes, that person might take serious offense to it, or another person can be like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like there is a totally what you were saying, like there's just a cultural divide within how people are raised and such. Like, are you going to take a gun out, or are you going to, you know, like do something else? It just...
Well, I'm just amazed that there's people that have something to lose that will do that incorrectly. Like, you know, you can almost understand the mindset when someone has zero to lose, right? But I'm amazed that we've seen it now. Yeah. One of the people is on trial, the most maybe famous trial since OJ. Yeah. You have something to lose. You have everything to lose. Something that 99% of the planet do not have. And you're willing to make decisions to cost you everything, including your freedom, life, everything. And people are willing to do it. So it's fascinating. But I will say it is I
can't wait to watch Shooting Guards.
Good documentary.
Good. Joseph's dad is super hot.
You know, I've had this happen in my life, okay, where girls that I've dated are like, your dad's hot. And I'm like, okay. And they'll say it in a way that's sometimes a little bit like, right, like calm the fuck down. Like they really sound like they're ready to like.
I mean, not every guy can pull off bald. Like your dad, he pulled it off.
Yeah, was he a pioneer? Is he like before Larry David?
I'm just saying, like I didn't really, I never looked at Peter Vecsey as being somebody who was losing his hair. I just never, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't look at him that way.
That's interesting.
Well,
That's
he's
why I got-
81 now. Joseph didn't know his dad's age yet.
His
thought
swag,
he was
it was the
82.
swag. He
81.
had.
Can I tell you something? If he walked in a room with Mark Wahlberg, in terms of swag, my dad isn't. He's not. Okay, what's up?
I feel like if Mark Wahlberg and Peter Vecsey were in a room and I like walked into the room or whatever, I would just be like, "Hey, Peter, how are you?"
You have a choice to make.
I would be like, "Hey, Peter," and he'd be like, "Shut up," and I'd be like, "Okay."
Girls love that. They love
like,
that.
okay.
That energy that's kind of aggressive. That's like you just said, "Shut up," and she's like, "Oh, really? Shut up, me?"
I'll be like, "Okay, whatever you
What else
want."
do you want me to do? Shut up or open? What do you need?
You don't consider that toxic masculinity, Chloe?
Wait, that's really funny that you said, because we were actually talking about this yesterday about how there'll be girls that are like, toxic masculinity is so bad, but then like there'll be a guy that's like really nice and they'll be like, ew, gross. Like I'd rather the guy that's like, and I mean, I think most girls like they're gonna go for the guy that like actually doesn't care about you at all. And like Peter Vecsey, I don't think would care if I live or died. I'm like, I'm drowning. He's like, okay. I'm like, oh,
This is what me and
nice to
Jaleel
hear.
experienced growing up. We were the guys who
nice guys finish last. That's
This was
why
our
I'll
life.
treat you like trash. It's you know that song?
Yes, I would read Jaleel's book, and I would go, and he had the story about dating or a girl playing him for some reason. I would go, oh my God, we're more alike than I ever realized. Because I would take girls out on 3-4 nights to the nicest restaurants, and my friends would be like, take that chick out for a slice of pizza. What the fuck you doing? He's like, you could do a lot less. He goes, you take them out to a nice restaurant. They're like, whoa, this is not that serious. What are we? They don't know that you just like to eat sushi at Houston's. You're presenting yourself like you're more serious. And I would get caught out there. And
I remember
my dad wouldn't.
I remember one teenage.
Your dad like wouldn't. He would just be like, fuck dinner.
I remember.
Like,
I remember one teenage date that was so bad. I let the girl in my car, my mom's car that I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, you know, put whatever you want on the radio. And she's like, oh, and she starts playing her music, and then a song came on that I liked, and she changed the song, and I was like, oh, well, I wanted to hear that. She was just like, remember, I'm in charge of the radio.
that's so me.
It was like it bothered me for the rest of the day because I was like,
100%.
Wait a minute, I was being a gentleman, and now I can't touch my own radio in the car that I'm driving? All right, that's the end of the podcast.
Yo, that is the wait. But just before you wrap that, I just have to just respond to that because that's just so fucking funny that you were being nice, letting her, and the fact that she just and now you would have won had you said, pull the car over, get out the fuck out right now. I was just so you know,
And that would have been
hot.
hot.
I might have got
And
a
that
kiss
would
at
have
the
been
end.
hot.
But just so you know, wait,
I might have got a kiss at the end of that date.
I was driving a girl in my car in New York City, and having a car in New York City is a luxury.
That is a big deal.
And the girl said to me, she goes, my cup holder was full. She goes, I ain't where to put my drink. Like, I have a couple. And I go, what kind of cup holders they got on the subway?
Oh, I bet you scored. I bet you
had
scored.
sex that night.
There you go.
I had sex that night.
And we will end it with that. There we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Everybody Lurks. We're on every single social media platform that is relevant. So go find us there, and we'll see you next time. Keep lurking.
If you have tattoos, be yourself.
Hey. Okay.